question of National Guard deployment in Portland could now be decided by the Supreme Court. This comes as the Trump administration asked the highest court in the land this afternoon to allow deployment of National Guard troops in Chicago. Fox 12 investigative reporter Adrian Thomas joins us live to break down what this means for a similar case playing out in Oregon.
As the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals weighs whether to allow National Guard troops to deploy in Portland while a lower court lawsuit plays out in Oregon District Court, attorneys for the Oregon Department of Justice are saying the appeals court judges need to look at what's happening in the other major city where a similar lawsuit is underway, along with local ICE protests. That's Chicago. But there could be major changes on the ground in Portland if the Supreme Court decides to allow troops to deploy into Chicago. On Thursday, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, hearing the case involving National Guard deployment in Chicago, decided that federal troops can remain mobilized but cannot deploy in the Windy City for now. Right after that decision was issued, officials with the Oregon Attorney General's office issued a new filing in the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals where the case involving the National Guard deploying to Oregon is being heard. In the filing, the state of Oregon said the Ninth Circuit should look at what was said in the 7th Circuit Court decision in regards to the protests over immigration enforcement in Chicago. In short, those judges said the ICE protests in Chicago have not met the threshold to be considered a, quote, rebellion against the United States. The 7th Circuit Court decision said that a protest doesn't become a rebellion because of, quote, sporadic and isolated incidents of unlawful activity or even violence committed by rogue participants. Now, the issue at hand in both Portland and Chicago is whether the protests seen meet the threshold for a rebellion, allowing the president to deploy the National Guard to protect federal property and personnel. Now, we could get an appeals court ruling any day now that could determine whether troops can deploy to Portland, but that decision by the appellate court will be impacted if the Supreme Court decides to hear the case on National Guard deployment to Chicago. In studio, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.
In the meantime, new video shows military resources building up at Camp Withicum in Clackamas County. The footage reveals bunkhouse trailers, portable bathrooms, and generators staged across the base. The buildup happened within the last few months. Fox 12 visited the base in July for the Oregon Military Museum opening. Those same parking lots were completely empty then. The museum closed this month. We're told that it will reopen in January. The closure coincided with California National Guard troops arriving in Portland. Fox 12 reached out to the Pentagon for additional access and comment, but we have not yet heard back.